Just you quickly touched on Marner, but and like this is kind of a take and another one. Comment down below what you think. I think it's to the point now where, and get ready for it, everyone's going to explode. I think Mitch Marner is underrated. I think sometimes as a fan base, we watch our team every game, game in, game out. And there are guys who do certain things so often that we almost kind of take them for granted. Marner makes incredible plays every game. His creativity and patience are off the chain. That goal he scored last night was bonkers. Like that fake quick shot. Are people even talking about it today?
It was insane.
Not really. Like it's just, oh yeah, nice goal, whatever. Put the Leafs in a good
spot. And that was the game winner.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And that's a wrap on it. Because I think he's so good at those things that we almost kind of miss them and don't pay as much attention as we should to these individual moments. How many times did he set up Bunting and Matthews last night? There's a one Matthews miss. We had the open net. Like, when does that happen? There's another one, Bunting. He made a great move, cut it to the left, and Bunting just couldn't finish. You mentioned the points Matthews put up over the last, was like 35 games. I'd like to see those numbers on Marner because he had that slow start. I know last time I checked, he'd creeped in a top 15 in scoring, but he's looked great, man. And people are going to, I can already hear people's reactions. Well, what about the playoffs and this and that? Yeah, that's right. And he's got to show us in the playoffs. But again, like what we touched on Matthews' contract, if you watch Mitch Marner and you really and truly pay attention to what he brings and what he provides, I think it's tough to argue that that's a shit contract. I mean, it's not an ideal contract, but I think it's tough to argue that, like, oh man, I wish the Leafs could dump that. And there will be takes based on how this team does in the playoffs. But as it stands now and looking at this season, the guy's an incredible player. And I really do think we're at the point where he's underrated and underappreciated by Leafs fans. Well, put it this way. This is kind of how I see Marner. We talk about how maybe Matthews is the greatest Maple Leafs player of all time. If we didn't have Matthews and Marner was kind of the centerpiece, he's on the list. The guy was a first-team All-Star last year. And you can say it's a bad thing. I mean, talking about the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but how many times has a Maple Leaf player been a first-team All-Star? Not many. And like putting up the points he's putting up and the consistency, he's up there, man. So again, maybe that's the other reason too, because Austin Matthews exists. Marner doesn't get the attention he deserves, but incredible player, man. Incredible player. And I just hope he's motivated for the playoffs because I don't want him to have to go through another summer like he did last year.
No, it's actually funny how Marner kind of flies under the radar because he's the guy who's led the Leafs in scoring pretty much every year of his career, I believe, except for maybe one season. And I talked about those stats with Austin Matthews, Lepore, over his last 48 games since November the 1st, how he leads the league with 42 goals and 73 points. So Matthews, since November 1st, is number one in the league in points per game. Who do you think is number two in points per game in the NHL?
Is it Mitch Marner, Anthony?
Mitch Marner, 59 points in 39 games since the beginning of November. Second in the league in points per game behind Austin Matthews.
Wow, that's great. That's like what, a point and a half pace?
Point and a half a game. So if you look at the list, it's Matthews number one. Again, this is since November the 1st. So it's, 2-3 weeks into the season. So you have Matthews number one, Marner number two, Kucherov's number three. He's only played 18 games though. Yeah. Kirill Kaprizov is number four, Nazem Kadri number five, Jonathan Huberdeau number six, Connor McDavid number 12.
Oh, him.
And Leon Draisaitl number 9 on that list. Points per game since the beginning of November. And